force a two-front battle. With whom can you force a two-front battle? This is a very powerful stratagem. Some of us are going to get it, and some of us won't get it. It's not an easy one to apply, but if you see an idea here, it's truly a disruptive idea. It comes from an ancient story in China. There's a state called Zhao. And Zhao is being attacked by another state called Wei. Wei is on his way down to attack Zhao, and Zhao knows that they don't have the power to defend themselves. So they ask an ally for help. They ask Qi to help them defend themselves. So Qi agrees, and Qi is about to do the obvious thing, which is to take its forces and move them behind Zhao and help them reinforce themselves. Just before they do that, however, an advisor from Qi says, hey, wait. You know what we should do? Is instead of defending Zhao, we should attack Wei. Because what we'll do is we're going to force Wei into a dilemma. This is what you want to do. Force your competitors or your customer into a dilemma. Sorry. The dilemma is this. Wei is going to be halfway down its march, and then it's going to find out that Qi is going back to attack the women and children that they've left primarily undefended. And now they're going to have to make a choice. Do I continue my aggression and attack Zhao, or do I go back to defend our families? And they're going to choose to go back to defend their families. So they go back, and they defend, and does Qi need to continue its attack? It no longer needs to continue its attack because it's achieved its objective of saving Zhao without bloodshed. The idea is you force your competitor onto a two-front battle and it forces them onto a defensive position. It forces them to pull back. There's a company called Autodesk, and they're known for making a service, they're known for a software called AutoCAD. Has anyone here used AutoCAD? If you're an engineer or you're an architect, you probably used AutoCAD. And so they looked at what opportunities do we have to expand our business. And what they decided was that they would go into the to the movie business. Nearly all of the animated movies that won an Oscar last year used an Autodesk program, which they basically customized AutoCAD into a digital 3D movie production business, and now they're dominating this space. And all their traditional competitors have difficulty competing with them because they're competing with a company that has decades of experience designing 3D environments with software. Force your competitors onto a two-front battle. I'm going to skip this one, sorry. That's force a two-front battle. The other one that I'd like you to look for is to add a new place to the game board. This plays on the fact that your competitors are playing business with you following a rule that doesn't exist. And they follow this rule because this rule exists in other games. And the rule says that you can't add a new piece to the board. You know, if you've got your soccer team, your football team on the field, you can't add a new player. If I'm playing chess with you, I can't take a queen out of my back pocket and put it next to your king. I would win every match. It gives me too much of an advantage. So most of our games have this rule. You have to play with the pieces on the board. And what this pattern suggests you do is break that rule. Add a new piece to the board. Chess is what we're known in the West, where we play a lot of chess. But in China and Japan, they play Go. Has anyone played Go before? Played Go? A couple people? So Go is an interesting game. It's similar to chess. It's a strategy game. Black and white pieces, checks. But the rules are fundamentally different because you're not allowed to move your pieces on the board of the Go game. You can only add and remove pieces. Similar objectives, but the rules are different. You can't move the pieces, you can only add and remove pieces. So I'd like you to look at your problem and ask, what could I add or remove? A good example of this is Eli Callaway and Callaway golf clubs. Eli Callaway was an entrepreneur at the age of 10. He sold some magazines. He collected $250. Then he took that $250 and he rented a peach tree. And then he collected the peaches at the end of the season and he sold those for $750. And this must have been in 1940, 1935. A 10-year-old boy with $750 in 1935, that's a big deal, right? You'd think that he would go on to be an entrepreneur the rest of his life. But actually what he does is he goes to war, World War II. He becomes a logistics expert. He goes back home and he has a series of executive jobs in large companies. At age 55, he's up to be CEO of his company, and he loses the battle to someone else. And so then he decides he's going to be an entrepreneur again. He starts a wine company. He buys a vineyard in Canada, in California. And it's going pretty well. And then the Queen of England goes to the United States for and she has an estate dinner. And all the newspapers the next day have the same headline in the United States and England. The Queen asks for a second glass of wine. And apparently queens aren't supposed to ask for second glasses of wine. I don't know if you knew that. But everyone wants to know, what is this wine that the Queen is so good that the Queen wants another glass, and it turns out to be his wine. And sales of his vineyard pop up, and he sells it for $50 million. 62. What would you do at age 62 with $50 million? Play golf, right? Play golf. He decides he's going to start a golf company instead. He's going to go back into the game, and he starts Callaway Golf. His big insight is that people don't like using drivers. Even good golf players can't use drivers predictably. So he creates a way for them to cheat, and he creates the Big Bertha. The Big Bertha is so good that even someone like me, who's not a good golf player, I can swing the Big Bertha, and my ball will go the way I want it to go. It gives you such an advantage that the PGA says, this is illegal. You can't use this in tournaments. And do you know what he says? He says, I don't care. Because I'm not selling this to golfers. I'm selling this to the millions of people who are not playing golf. They're on the edge of the links. And they want to step on, but they're scared to pick up a driver. That's who I'm selling to. I'm adding a new piece to the board. That's the principle. You add a new piece to the board.